What's going on, guys? Welcome to a whole new video. In this video, I want to talk about something that is a bit off limits on YouTube, as YouTube has become a bit more strict on this subject. That being said, if you're able to watch this, you made it just in time before this video may or may not get removed, but regardless, I want to show you something. Alright, so these are cigars. Now, I just want to address the dinosaur in the room. Now, there's a clear distinction between these and any type of cigarette. A cigarette is tobacco that's filled with a bunch of chemicals and additives and whatnot, versus these are just tobacco leaves that are rolled up and ready for enjoyment. And two, you don't inhale these. Now, there's plenty more in this humidor, which I'm going to get to in a moment, but I just want to explain why I do these. So the way I got into cigars was actually through whiskey. I started watching a lot of videos on which whiskeys to try next, and then I just went into like this rabbit hole of YouTubers and reviewers, and eventually they started talking about different pairings with sticks in particular. And I remember one video from Jeremy Sires, which he was talking about this one stick that tasted like chocolate, peanut butter, and coffee, and that really got my attention because I've never tried a cigar previously before that, but I have tried a couple cigarettes here and there, and I remember what those tasted like. And so I was really curious when he mentioned chocolate. I was like, okay, this is completely different from what I'm imagining, so I really wanted to try it out for myself and see if it really does taste like chocolate or if it's just made up BS. So I went to a local shop in my area, and the tobacconist at the time gave me a Macanudo, which had a Connecticut wrapper. That's really all I can remember, but at the time that I had it, I remember I did not enjoy it at all. To me, it just tasted like hay, and remember, I have never tasted this before. My palate was not ready for it, and so I couldn't really distinguish any particular flavor notes. It just tasted like burned leaves, and I didn't really enjoy it. But the only pro of that was that it did give some sort of like therapeutic, meditative aspect of it. Because if you think about it, when you light one of these sticks up, you're really taking like 45 minutes to an hour and a half out of your day. Just enjoy that moment. And so I liked that aspect of it. So I went back to the local shop, and he provided another stick for me to try. And from that point forward, I started getting into this rabbit hole of trying different flavors and trying to building my palate up to kind of enjoy the stick that I have, and then kind of getting those notes of chocolate, peanut butter, coffee, leather, hay, and actually enjoy those flavor combos and kind of just see what that is. And for me, it provides me that time to reflect and project, reflect and think about what's been going on recently, or what's been going on in the past, and kind of just see what I need to do in the near future, or what I need to do for 10 years down the line. So it kind of gives me that moment just kind of just take the time and think about what's going on. And recently, a couple of my friends have been getting into the sticks as well. So Sen, if you're watching this, one day we will go to the lounge again soon. But yeah, friends have been starting to enjoy this as well. So that social aspect of these sticks have been another pro that's been slowly building up. That's kind of like the backstory of why I enjoy these sticks and why I continue to do so. Before we dive into the collection, I do want to talk about the accessories. So I'm going to separate it into different categories. We'll talk about humidors, then cutters, and then lighters. In terms of humidors, there's all sorts of variations. Now, I've tried three, two of them are right here. The first one I've ever had was a little Tupperware. You just want to make sure that you have something that's airtight. It does a great job of actually storing cigars. It maintains the humidity level very well. It's just something that you'd have to keep in a nice, cool environment. That way it's not going to be affected by the temperature. Now, I'll get into details about the humidity, temperature, and all that in a different video, but for the time's sake, I'm just going to keep this simple. After a while, I started growing my collection and outgrew that Tupperware, and so I moved into this 50 count wooden desktop humidor. It was great because it looks really nice. You can put it out here anywhere, and it's just a nice appeal to have. But eventually, once you realize that this does not have an airtight seal, it does a poor job at maintaining the humidity level, and so it became a real hassle and having to re-season that. And again, I'll explain all that in a different video. But eventually, because I haven't had time to just actually enjoy sticks, and my collection was starting to grow more and more, and I didn't want to risk all the sticks becoming useless and brittle and unenjoyable, I ended up getting one of these Audu 150 count humidors that has airtight seal as well as a cooling factor in it. Because one of the issues with this is because this is a desktop humidor, you kind of keep it on your desk and it can get affected by the window in the daytime, and it can get really hot, and that could also mess up the sticks in general. So when I got this cooler door, it really helps, especially in the Texas heat during the summers. So it kind of keeps everything well maintained, and is actually really nice in storing the humidity level, as I mentioned earlier. Now, I don't recommend getting any of this if you're starting out. Stick with the Tubador and you'll be just fine. Generally speaking, there's 3 different variations on how you can cut open a stick. One of them is the guillotine, the other is a V-cut, and the third is a punch cut. Now, I don't have a punch cut to show you, but out of all 3, I enjoy the guillotine the most, just because of how versatile it is, because it can be used on literally any stick that you're given, versus a V-cut. You can't really use it on like something that has a torpedo edge, because it'll tend to crack that cap area and just making that smoking experience just not as enjoyable. But there is moments where this makes the experience better than a guillotine, and so I kind of just played around with it and kind of just see what I wanted to do in the moment. But these are kind of the cutters that I have, and so we'll go into the lighters. All right, so there's different ways on how you can light up the stick. One of them is by using matches. You could use this, but I would recommend letting it burn off for a second or two. That way that initial chemical on these matches are just taken off before you put it on the stick. Another soft flame option is by using just like a big lighter or like a Zippo that has butane fuel. These are really great, especially if you're able to smoke indoors because there's no wind. However, if you are smoking outdoors and there is wind, these don't really hold up that well, and so I would recommend getting a torch lighter. These are, again, very versatile because, again, you can use indoors or out, and it just makes sure that you have a proper light on the stick. So I know I mentioned that there was 3 categories, but this 4th one really is kind of like a random assortment. First one being, this one is a hydrometer. This one measures the humidity level as well as the temperature that I have my cigars in the humidor. This is a Boveda pack. This one is a 69%, just to make sure that the humidity levels is, again, well maintained. Another one is a travel case for a stick. This one I particularly don't really care for. It's great for some uses, but because it's limited on the size, this fits a maximum of 6 inches as well as a 42 diameter or smaller. 42 might be pushing it, but for the moments that I have a stick that can fit this, it's great. Otherwise, it's not useful at all. The travel case I prefer the most is the one that my fiance got me. It actually has my name on it and everything. It has a pouch for a guillotine cutter, as well as it's lined with cedar. This is hard case, so that way it won't get crushed by anything else. It holds about 3 or 4 sticks in here, depending on the size. And then if I put a lighter in here, it'll hold about 1 or 2. So it's really nice for that aspect. I use this a lot, especially when I'm traveling, or if I'm going in the car, I'll keep this in the glove box. And again, this is my preferred way of traveling with some sticks instead of just having it in my pocket. So, highly recommend this. Alright, so now that you see that the humidor is open, that only means it is finally time to dive in and seeing what kind of a collection I have. Now, this is not a reflection of what I've tried before. This is just showing you what I have on hand at the moment. A quick disclaimer, you may not be able to find some of these sticks at your local shop because a lot of these I found an online retail site called Privada Cigar Club. The reason why I went to them is because 1, they have great customer service, and 2, they have great sticks that are kind of more in the craft movement side of it. So you're not going to find it at your typical cigar lounge. You're just going to be able to find it on that site because a lot of them are exclusive. So I just wanted to throw that disclaimer out there. All right, so on this first shelf, we have the Davidoff mini cigarillos, Escurio. Now in here, I also put a few Romeo and Julieta white box cigarillos just to save some space. But these are really great for those short 15 minutes of relaxation. The rest of these sticks are sticks that I have not tried before. This one is the Champagne by Privada. This one is the Thanksgiving Parade Pack by Privada. One of them is by AJ Fernandez. Another one I believe is by Master Blender that used to work at Davidoff. And I can't remember who the third one is by, but these I'm gonna save for like Thanksgiving next year, just kind of see how it is. I've had it for 2 years so far and just kept forgetting about it. Maybe next year will be different. Then we have the bronze label by La Palina, the Clown. And this one I really pretty much got just because this is the first barber pole stick that I've ever found. It just looks interesting. Don't really care to try it, but it just looks nice to have on the humidor. This one is the Cain Straight Ligero. This is the Paul Stulac White Binding Light. I've tried a lot of Paul Stulac before and I've enjoyed each one of them. So I'm looking forward to trying this one as well. We have another one called Padilla Catcher in the Rye. Padilla also makes great sticks, and you'll see that I have a few Padillas in here. So I'm looking forward to this one as well. All right, for the second shelf, I kind of organize and categorize this as a budget-friendly daily kind of smokes. Now I don't do this on a daily basis, but that's just kind of how I kind of label this shelf. One of them is the CAO Flathead 450. The other one that I highly recommend is the Last Call by AJ Fernandez. This one is the Maduro version, and this one is the Habano. Both are fantastic, and if you're looking to get started into cigars, I highly recommend trying one of these two out. This one is more woody and a bit more spice. This one is more chocolatey, more leather. Again, try each one out, see which one you like, and you'll learn what kind of sticks you prefer, but still keep an open mind and just try different things. The box that you see is a Padilla Artefacto. I bought this from Padilla's website. This contains 20 sticks for, I think it was like 70 bucks at the time. So a really great steal, really great deal. So that's why I got this. All right, for this third shelf, I consider this shelf to be kind of like my special shelf. These sticks on the side are for like random big moments that I have in my life. And this box right here is the Padilla Finest Hour Oscuro. This one has a Connecticut broadleaf, which in my opinion is the best wrapper to have on a stick. But half of these sticks are going to go to a group of people that I want to celebrate a moment in my life with. But on this side, this random sticks assortment, this one is the Lords of England. I have not tried this stick. I'm looking forward to it because I heard it's pretty much just a chocolate on chocolate fudge stick. This Padron 1964 is another good one. I've not tried this one, but I have tried the 1926, I believe. That one was fantastic, so I'm looking forward to trying what the 64 is like. A Flor de Selva by Miya Selva. This 28th anniversary. Again, I have not tried this one, but I've heard great things. This is from Privada. It was rated really high, so we'll see how this one is. Now, this fourth one is one that I have tried before. This is the Wise Men. I believe it's by Foundation. It was great, and because of the size of it, again, I want to save this for another good moment. But that's shelf number 3. All right, so we're finally on our last set of sticks. Now, all of these sticks are ones I've tried previously. Now, I just want to give a bit more age to it, so I put it in this drawer just kind of see how the flavor progresses as time goes on. Now, I just want to make a note that 99% of the sticks that I have are from March of 2022 or earlier. Again, I just haven't purchased any ones recently just because I have so many that I need to get through. So I'd rather do that instead of spending more money on sticks that I probably won't try for a while. So I'm just going to run through these real quick just because there's so many different types. For starters, we have the Ezra Zion Chocolate Truffle. I have another one from them called the Ice Cream Sandwich. And the last one from them called the Peanut Butter Cup. Then we have the Killer Bee by Blackwork Studio. We have the K Decadencia. This Bubble Tea or Thai Tea by Espinosa. Sin Comprimiso. The Rojas KSG. The Paul Stulac Red Screaming Sun. This is probably one of my top 5 favorite sticks I've ever had in my entire life. My favorite stick of all that I've ever tried is from Privada. It's the ice cream cone. This is the Maduro. I believe this one is made by AJ Fernandez. The original I think was by Aladino. I could be wrong, but the original was my favorite of all time. This one is still really great, but again, this is probably my favorite sticks I've ever had so far. Then we have Privada Cigar Club, The Good Life. I have a couple of these in here. Desvalido, really chocolatey. Gonna give it a little bit more time. Then we have another Privada exclusive, the Blue Label, and then the Mad Monkey. So that pretty much covers my entire collection. I want to thank you guys all for watching. If you guys are curious of what you want to try or what you should try, leave in the comment box below and I'll reach out to you and give you kind of advice on what I recommend. But either way, I'll help you out.